Wakan good people, it's your boy. I just want to say this, I have been meaning to get this thing going for a long time, and I've even, decided to write down topics to talk about every single time and stuff like that. Try to plan it out, because topics like this, you can't just freestyle them. You have to, you got to prepare for them a little bit, because these are impactful topics that can pretty much impact somebody's life. So you don't just want to freestyle with somebody's life. Also, just I've been meaning to do this for a while, even when I had the stuff, but every time I wanted to do it, it just didn't want to come out. But let's just see how it goes. Pray for me that the Spirit will be able to enable me whenever the Spirit requires to come on here and just talk to you guys about things. What I intend to do is to talk about things that are hardly spoken about, even in most churches, you know what I mean? Or just around. So let's get into it. Number one is this: we are spirits, right? We are spirits in a vessel, body. Whatever religion you look at it, that's what I'm saying. This is not even about religion, because whatever religion, whichever way you decide to look at it, we are spirits. How are we supposed to love them? There's frequencies and there's energies that I want to discuss with you all today. The conscious energies are the people that you hang around with, the programs that you watch, the places that you go out to hang around in. Most of the time they present themselves as good, but what they do, they subconsciously lower your frequency. The subconscious energies can also be things that you watch. For example, I'll give you an example. The one I like to use a lot, especially with my family, is this thing of Real Housewives of da da da. There is nothing positive about those shows. They do, in terms of for your energy. Now I'm talking about, and in terms of for the frequency that you're supposed to be operating on, there's nothing positive about that. Also, when you at work, for example, and you not necessarily within the conversation, but you were in earshot of a conversation, and you hear people talking about so and so and so and so and so and so. You hear it, but you don't need to, you're not part of it. But then when somebody from that conversation that was discussing that will come to you at some other stage and be like, hey, what? Now, because you heard that before, even though you want a part of it, in your subconscious mind it is there. So now when the opportunity presents itself to you to put your opinion, you will make your opinion based on what your subconscious mind, and what it's done to your energy. Over time, what tends to happen is, if we don't keep our energy in check and our frequency, we don't keep lifting our frequency, what tends to happen is we start to get, emotional, angry, depressed, so on and so forth. You get the drift. You start having resentment. You start having all these things. And then, there's another thing I wanted to speak about. I'll just touch on it now. There's two different realms you can live in: the realm of the physical and the realm of the spiritual. It's got I want to call them worlds. It's got its own world. We all know the physical world has its own world. It's got taxes. It's got money as, the God of this world and all of them. Then the spiritual world is things of the spirit, like peace, happiness, love, comfort, all those things that are non-tangible, that you can't hold on to, basically. Things that increase or raise your frequency back to, what you are actually created and purposed for. So this is the reason why when they say the older you get, the wiser you get. You know why? Because the older you get, you start to disassociate yourself in some way or another with those things that you used to do when you were younger. And when you start to do that, you start to realize that you are now able to increase your frequency, because you have different energies that surround you. You're no longer in the clubs, you're no longer, in those areas that lower your frequency. Now, I'm not trying to judge anybody for going to clubs. I also go to clubs, you'll know that. But what I'm saying is the simple truth. When I go to clubs, I'm conscious that it's lowering my frequency, and I accept it like that. And I have to also accept the consequences of that, And then what you'll start to see is that, okay, now, because I understand that, I go less to these places, There's a saying that says, too much of a good thing is not good, or whatever. So yes, it is. It's not healthy or whatever. But the more you feed into those certain energies, the more those energies will start to impact your life, and it lowers your frequency. That's why the frequency of depression is very, very low. The frequency of resentment is very, very low. There's nobody on a high frequency that's depressed. There's nobody on a high frequency that is, sad or whatever. Not to say that if you're living in a high frequency, you don't experience anything. But my point that I'm trying to make is those things don't affect or impact you negatively because your frequency is high. And how do you get your frequency to be high? There is this thing called there's this phrase people use for the Bible. They say it's basic instructions before leaving earth, or biblical instructions before leaving earth. I don't know which one is more true, but basically it's instructions before leaving earth. Those instructions are what will get you to that frequency. The things that you see, that you read in the word, are the tools that will get you to the frequency that I just explained in the beginning of this video. And I'm a personal testament to that, because I wasn't always the way I am now. I wasn't always this person. 5 years ago, I would never have been able to speak to you like this. 3 years ago, I would never be able to speak to you like this. 1 year ago, I might not have been able to speak to you like this. But I'm on the way. I'm on the way, guys, to really being truly free and living on the highest frequency. I'm on the way. And I think this is going to be the next topic, which is the understanding of repentance. For me, what I've come to know, I've asked this of God. I ask everything. You all know me. I ask a lot of questions. I ask God, what is repentance actually? Because, when we think about repentance meaning to stop what you're doing, it makes repenting very hard. So I think in the next conversation, we'll talk about it. But just to give you an idea of what I'm going to speak about is that repentance is not about just stopping what you're doing because you did wrong. Stop it, don't do it again. That's almost impossible. That's why when we do it again, we start to feel guilty, and then we start to walk away from God because we're continually doing it again, and we think that, we're not repenting, and we lied about our repentance. But repentance is actually changing your mind about something. And we'll touch on that again. But I want to wrap up this by saying that the frequencies that we are living on at this moment is not necessarily the frequency that we are made to be living on, or living in, sorry. And if your frequency is low and you're depressed, it's because of the outside influences that you're allowed to affect you inside. And over time that happens. And another thing is, I also want to say this in closing, the devil doesn't come to you looking ugly. What I'm trying to say is, it's the small things that you don't take serious, that you don't pick up, that you don't notice, that over time they start to bring it out, and you don't even realize that's what's happening. Because of the environments we're living in, we grew up in, we see it all around us, so we become a part of that in a way. And I was fortunate that I was able to remove myself and I pretty much isolate myself for the wrong reasons. When I went to Phoenix, I didn't have any friends because you know, I was at the stage in my life where I didn't, you know how people, you know, colored people, how we are. We talk about certain people like this, you know, the wrong funny thing. So I went with that mentality of, hey, Indian people, this, that, and the third. So I isolated myself, but I learned that not all are like that. There is some truth in it though, but not all are like that. Just like when they speak about us, there is some truth in the things that they speak about, but not all of us are like that. And also, it was good for me to isolate myself because that was when I started downloading new information, and I only had God. You know, none of my friends were coming to visit. Okay, I won't say none of my friends, but my friends weren't regularly coming to visit me and stuff like that. And I had no friends there. So, you know, I only had God, and I had to look at myself and understand myself. And I made a lot of mistakes too in relationships and all that. And I came to this point, not just like this, like yesterday. It was a journey. But I'm so happy that the journey took place because now I fully understand, fully through experience. And I can tell you some good news. A lot of you have also experienced it, but your mind wasn't open to understanding because you never had opportunity to separate yourself and hear what God is trying to say. Again, this has nothing to do with religion, guys. It's about your life. You can be whoever you are. If you even try to practice one of these things that I'm telling you, like for example, if you're watching Real Housewives or whatever, stop watching that. You know, I don't know how long you want to say you want to stop watching. Maybe for like I don't know, a month or whatever. Don't watch that. Don't watch whatever. And download new information. Doesn't even have to be biblical or whatever. It can be self-help things, you know. When you go on YouTube, instead of watching the newest car build, try to watch how to improve your finances or whatever. Just change your mind, renew your mind about things, you know. And I can guarantee you one thing. You will see that you will be led to the one truth. No matter how you start, you'll be led to the truth. I would encourage you to also pray when you're doing that. Just pray and you will be led to the truth. Thank you so much if you've watched all the way this long. I really appreciate you, and give me your feedback about what you think. I'm open to, you know, listening. I also want to learn with you guys as well. So if you want to share or if you want to go on a live together at some point and let's just talk, no flop, I want to learn from you also. And don't ever feel bad about who you are, where you are now, because God, most of the disciples, He took them from where they were, you know. He didn't tell them, come meet me here. He went and took them from where they were. So you don't have to feel bad about where you are right now in your life. Just start whenever and be consistent, and you'll see the difference that it makes in your life. Anyway, thank you for listening. Have a lovely Sunday. Peace, love, joy, like a river, mountain, fountain.